And we are live.
All right.
Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Travel FOMO.
Travel FOMO Fighters.
Let's start again. Welcome to another episode of the Travel FOMO Fighters. This is episode 9 of probably 1,000. We've written around 800 guides in around 80 countries.
Yeah.
And we keep expanding. And we continue to write every day and every week. I'm Fede from Argentina. She's Danny from the US.
From the US.
So get your drink.
Grab your coffee, grab your tea, anything. Come join us. We're going to be talking just for, 15 minutes about. We're going to be doing very specific topics each Tuesday, 12 o'clock US time, Eastern Standard Time, and 2 o'clock Argentina time.
So this week, we have a very special topic. We're going to be talking about how to find local events while you're traveling. Last week we talked about
we were talking about different festivals, so those big events like Carnival and Tomatina and
the big ones, the one that get all the hype, and the ones that usually get all the crowds. But
so we wanted to make sure that you don't miss those big festivals.
Yeah.
But also what we want to make sure that you're not missing out on is those local events, right? So it could be something from a movie on the beach, it could be a craft fair, it could be a free concert. It could be anything, really. But basically, anywhere you go, you're going to be able to find local events that are happening.
Yeah, because let's be honest, Tomorrowland is probably one of the biggest, most fun festivals in the world. But you're really not going to experience the Belgian culture very well if you go to that festival, right? So maybe you find like a chocolate making experience, or what we want to say is, these local events tend to be a lot more close to their culture or things that only locals experience. So we want to make sure that when you travel, you also get to do that, so that when you go home, you can remember a lot about their culture.
Exactly. Those are the things that actually change your trip from being, great to absolutely mind-blowingly amazing and things that you don't forget. So basically, one of our favorites was when we were in Bulgaria. We were in a small beach town, and it was nice. I mean, we had a good time. But then all of a sudden we were walking around one day and we saw them setting up for something. So we asked them what was going on, and they were having a wine festival in the ruins.
We found it looked very odd, but there were Roman ruins from a long time ago, and they looked like an interesting place to go just to see it for like an hour or so and keep going. But then we saw there was a lot of people, they were setting up tents, and it was like, what's happening here? It's a wine festival. You just paid a fee. They give you a glass, and you can drink you can try from all the vendors. There's going to be food. And it was like,
well,
let's just do everything.
Honestly, we were in the Balkans for 3 months. Every day we were in a different city. We were just moving, doing so many different things. And when we tell you, that was one of our favorite days, our entire trip. And just because we had this local event going on, and we ended up meeting a ton of fun people from that city. We spent the entire night drinking with them. I actually ended up finding a $5 thrift dress.
Oh my God, that's true.
Which was supporting a whole bee project that this girl was doing for a community. And it was just like, everything that happened that night was incredible. And we were like, wow, we really need to start making sure that we are attending these events, right? And so we want to make sure that you're going to be able to find these events before they happen and you don't miss them, because it also has happened to us where we've showed up to a place and the next day they were like, oh, did you enjoy last night? And we're like, what happened? And they were like, oh, it was the biggest event of the season, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, even remember this year, 2026, we were in Uruguay and we were in a beach town, and we're going for dinner to a restaurant and we're wearing white just because we were wearing white. And the girl's like, did you come from X event? We're like, no, what are you talking about? Oh, it's this massive event that happens once a year with a full moon at the beach. We're like, no.
Yeah, no. And then the thing is, obviously, listen, we're very experienced travelers, but we also make mistakes because we are running a business, because we also do last minute trips. And so sometimes we still miss out on things. But, if you are doing a few special trips a year. Maybe you're doing one trip a year. Like, you want to make sure that it counts. And even though there are so many things to do and see, where you're going, like, those local events are going to be the ones that really, really change your experience. So it's not that you have to make your entire trip about them, but definitely give yourself a flexibility so that you can include at least one or two.
Totally. So let's get into it. How do we find local events? What would be the step one?
Okay. Like the same with social media. Well,
Just give it away.
I just gave it away. I was going to say the same with a lot of the things that we've been saying. Social media is our first key for finding a lot of things, right? We use that as our first draft. And so, but for this specific situation, what we do is we're looking for very local creators, right?
Yeah.
So in Buenos Aires, we have a few creators that we follow, and they're constantly uploading reels and stories about things that are going on for a specific amount of time. For example, we just went to the Monet experience. That was for several weeks going on. And, because we saw the reel, we knew about it and we saved it in our Argentina folder, or our Buenos Aires folder to be exact. And, actually we make a calendar every month to make sure that we're going to like all the different events that are happening in town.
Yeah, we might post later because we have it right here, all the events of the month.
Yeah.
We have our whiteboard and it's always like getting new stuff.
Yeah. It's like almost every other day there's something going on. So social media is number one. Let's say you have a trip to Venice. You have a trip to Venice and it's a few months away. Go ahead and start looking up creators that focus solely on Venice. You're going to look for those local creators, start following them, and engage with their stuff, because then their stuff is going to come up on the algorithm. And then in your explore page, you're going to actually find related content. It's just going to come naturally.
Yeah, the algorithm on all social media has become so specific. And now even on Instagram, now you can choose, and you can there's like on the top right bar when you like doom scrolling reels, you can see there's a little like adjustment lever that you can click on, and you can choose your interests, and Instagram will automatically start showing you more of that. But if you engage with those local accounts, you're gonna get all the local stuff happening in that specific area. So it's pretty automatic. You're gonna get it in no time.
And then also you can go ahead and look into these creators' accounts. If I know that a creator is from Buenos Aires, I will go ahead and go into their story highlights. A lot of the times they'll post things that are happening. And then also, like, you're going to be able to go into the stories that are happening every day, their story highlights, and then just scroll a bit and you'll be able to see maybe last year they had a local event that was going on in March when you planned on visiting. And then you can say, oh, okay, that might be happening this year as well. You can basically just get an idea from social media. That's like our first step with anything, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, whatever you
even Pinterest has great content sometimes. It's very seasonal. So step two, once you get done with social media, you have just like with planning trips and with every step, you need to get like a rough first draft. And then from there, we're going to start like filtering, tailoring to get it perfect. So next step is going to be to go to tourism pages just to confirm, right? Because sometimes it was a one-time event. And let's be honest, content creators, as much as they try to show you all the stuff, they might not be up to date with all the details about
it's more
when
so
it's
about
happening.
where they're going.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
So there are different strategies that you should use for different places, right? Buenos Aires is a massive city, right? So
over 3 million people live in the city alone. You might be driving for over an hour and continue to be inside the city. It's really hard to cover the whole thing.
So we actually have different procedures for finding things in Buenos Aires to finding things in beach towns in Argentina. So we went to Villa Gesell and we also went to Pinamar. The last few weeks we did those 2 beach trips, and they're very small, right? So they have a completely different way of being able to find their events. And so when it comes to smaller towns, what we do is we go directly to the tourism site, right? Because there's not a ton of content about Villa Gesell or Pinamar.
No,
I mean, they're very nice, right? But when people are doing content about Argentina, they're not really going to be posting about those places as much. So when you're going to destinations that are a little bit off the beaten track, smaller places, go to the tourism site, and then you can find right on their site the different events that are going on, or you can also find them on their Instagram. So I usually go to the Instagram first, and then I go through one of their last few posts, and I also check their stories, because in their stories they usually put events that are going on.
Even remember, we were going to this craft market that was going to happen around Christmas time, and on the stories they put that day the market had been canceled due to bad weather, and that they were going to postpone it. Actually,
exactly, yeah. So
you don't get things until last minute sometimes. So it's really good to follow these specific.
Yeah, if you follow the tourism accounts, they're really going to help you. Now, that being said, when you go to big cities, it's a completely different story. You're not going to go to the New York Tourism Board when you want to find out what's going on in New York, because truthfully, New York is such a big city and there's so much going on.
Yeah, so you need to get more specific.
Exactly. They're more focused on logistics, helping travelers in general. They're not focusing on the tiny vegan market that's happening on Thursday.
Yeah.
That
might be a one time only.
Exactly. So when it comes to big cities, there are a few different things that we do. The first thing is we go to very specific curated sites, right? So Secret is one of them. So there's Secreta Baires or Baires Secreta, which is for Buenos Aires. And then also there's Secret New York or New York Secret. And actually, this is an umbrella company that has bases in different big cities around the world, and they're constantly posting. When I tell you, there are blog articles every day or every other day saying
they're pretty up to date.
They're like, what's happening this weekend? What's happening this month? So when you go, and then they're also usually selling curated experiences because they're working with local businesses. Yeah. So you can find so many different things on their blog posts. That's a big one that I use. And there are different ones for different cities, obviously. But.
Totally. So remember, we have social media so far, then we go to tourism pages, and third, we're going to go to curated sites or specific things related to where you're going. Now, what else can we do to continue to grab this first draft and tailor it into the perfect local event roadmap?
All right. Well, another thing that we like to do is when we're looking up articles, so, when we're going into Google and we're looking up things to do, I'm not just going to say things to do in Buenos Aires, right? Because guess what? Specific. Things to do in Buenos Aires they're going to say the same things that happen year round. They're not going to tell you to go to, the chorizo festival that's happening. Yeah. They're not going to tell you that.
No, so you need to be more specific. And when you look for a place plus the month that you're going. So you can start to get more specific.
Yeah. Or if you're going around a certain holiday, you can be like, things to do in New York for Valentine's Day. All right. And then they're going to pull everything that you could possibly think of in those specific articles. Sometimes you're going to need to go to page 2 or 3 of Google. Don't be scared of page 2 or 3. I know it's people think it's the blackout zone.
Yeah, it's the bottom of the ocean. If you're not in the top 10, then you don't exist.
But honestly, some of the best things you'll find are going to be on those pages.
Just because, and this is a little side note. Regarding SEO or search engine optimization, the top results for any search in Google or any search engine are going to be by websites that Google consider trustworthy. And a lot of times these big websites, trustworthy, let's say TripAdvisor or Lonely Planet
or Reddit.
Yeah, so these big websites, they're very trustworthy because you're not going to get a virus through them. But the problem is they're not specific. So the first page might be covered with all those big brands. But if you go to the second page, then you find it curated, the local, the specific ones to the thing you're looking for. Because obviously, there's a bigger chance that there's a local creator talking about Pinamar, Argentina, than there is of, Lonely Planet making an article about Pinamar. It's very specific. So give it a shot to the second or third page of Google, and you might be surprised what you can find. Don't go to the 10th page, but second or third.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so the next one.
The next one is a very interesting one because it's used for a different reason, but it gives you really valuable information.
Yeah. So we're going to be going into ticketing platforms, right? So it could be Ticketmaster, it could be Eventbrite, it could be a local ticketing website. But when you go into those, you'll find really cool events that are going on that maybe you didn't even know were happening. And it could be everything from a concert to a comedy show to a tourism fair.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times tickets for special events are sold on those sites. So we'll go directly to them just to see what's going on.
Yeah, because for anyone organizing an event, usually sales are the bigger focus than marketing. So imagine you're trying to organize an event. You have your event, you have your product that you want to give to people. You say, okay, we want people to give us money for this event. So we're going to organize a sales system. So you're going to talk to a ticketing platform so that they can sell your experience. Boom, that's sales. So that's step one for them. Then they need to go and do the marketing so that more people can see it. So maybe you have a great event and you have a ticketing platform selling tickets, but no one's talking about it on social media or no one's writing about it in a blog. So you're missing that layer of marketing.
Right.
But the ticketing platform is the core of the event. So there might be events that are incredible, but they're hidden.
Right. Like we just did one actually a few days ago. It was on Fever Up, which it was really fun. It was a murder mystery dinner.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would have missed that, but we found it on on Fever Up. We were like, wow, this looks like it's a lot of fun. We loved it. And guess what? They only had 2 shows going on and that was it.
Yeah.
So we ended up being able to find it. And that's why we are like constantly doing things every single weekend and even during the week, because we are on top of looking at all these platforms and then kind of mapping out our month. So you can even do this. This doesn't have to be when you're traveling. This can be for your own city, your own county.
Yeah, like we do here, because we spend like a big chunk of the year in Buenos Aires, and yet we do a lot of events and we always feel like we're discovering something new. That's something we talk about a lot, that we're both grateful that we both come from big cities where there's really always something new to do. Like you'll never run out of things to do. So it's really nice because even when you travel to other places and get all this traveling experience, you can feel like a tourist in your own city. And
you can bring all these things that we're teaching you. You can do them in your own city. And you'd be surprised at how many things are happening around you. Like whether it's 15 minutes away, 30 minutes away, you can always find something going on. And I truly believe that people who say that they're bored and there's nothing to do, it's just because they don't actually have the education or the tools to find those things.
Yeah, and a lot of times there's people around you organizing cool stuff, but they might not be good at advertising.
And a lot of
marketing.
It's free. A lot of it's free. I mean,
Exactly.
we do so many free events, and I mean, Buenos Aires is a great city for that. But even in New York, even in expensive cities, how many things have we done that didn't cost almost anything?
Yeah, movie night in the middle of Manhattan.
Yeah, in Bryant Park every Monday. I mean, we've found so many really cool free events that are going on. So please don't think that we're saying, oh my God, you need to be spending money every day to do all of these crazy events. Like you actually don't need to be spending that much money. So then we go into our 6th step, which is going into Facebook groups. And actually this can be in kind of 2 different ways, right? So there are a lot of Facebook groups that are made for tourists. I know that New York has a lot of them. When you go in, and it's usually a lot of people on the tourist ones are asking kind of the same things, right? It's more the biggest sites, itineraries, stuff like that.
Yeah.
However, if you go in and you ask a question, you say, hey, does anyone know if something's happening this weekend? You'll get locals jumping in and they'll let you know. And then you can find a lot of cool things that way. And then the second way is to go into expat groups.
Yeah. People who have moved to other countries. Even like we have a very nice group of friends of travelers who live 1 to 3 months in each country, and they actually live there. They have a home base, and they act like local, and they adjust to the culture.
Yeah.
But then they stay for a few months, and then they leave. So these groups, there's a lot of them that are meant for these kind of people that are going to stay 3 months, so they want to know
so it's either expats or digital nomads. And when we say expats, we're really talking about the people who are going short-term to a place. And expat, even though I know it's not a very loved term, when it comes to finding events, it is a big keyword in finding those events, because people who are moving to a place short-term. So for example, I moved to Spain for 2 years. And I know that's not super short-term, right? But that's, I wasn't immigrating there because I wasn't living there for my whole life.
Yeah.
I was going there for my 2-year program, and I joined a lot of these groups that were expat groups and digital nomad. I mean, no, at the time it wasn't really digital nomads. Now they have digital nomad groups, but they were expat groups, and they were talking about these are all the things that you can do in Madrid. And it really brought people together and showed all of these cool events. So they're really good for finding things that are going on, because those are the people that seek them the most.
Exactly. And even if you don't sympathize with the term, a lot of times locals will use the term to try to reach these people that are migrating, whether it's for a month or 3 months. So like, you'll know it's a good keyword, like Danny said. Just
exactly. It comes down to being a keyword for bringing people together that are from other countries.
And as a bonus, not only on the Facebook groups, you're going to find the events, you're going to find a community of people who want to go to this event. So people have the same interests as you. So maybe you'll make some friends along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a really nice bonus that you get from that. So if you did all your research and you think you have a good amount of information, there's one extra layer that you can add for maybe you won't find anything new, but maybe you'll find this like very extra thing that only locals do. And think about it, when you move to a place, what's your first contact with someone local? Is usually your accommodation, whether it's a hotel or if it's an Airbnb, even better, because people that rent their houses on Airbnb, they're truly locals because they own the place, but also they know that they can give a lot of good advice to make their stay better, right? So talk to your host on Airbnb, talk to your host on your hotel or their concierge, because they usually have really good tips for events and things happening this day, this week, and throughout the year. They have like the best insights.
We would say message them a few days before and just say, hey, do you know what's going on this weekend, or during the week? And then usually they know what's going on. But apart from your accommodation, you want to go to places that that people are social. So for example, bars and restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
We love to go to a bar or restaurant as soon as we get to town, and we'll talk to the bartender and be like, hey, what's going on? Like, is there anything that you think that we should be doing? It just happened to me when I went on a girls' trip to Salem, and we were there for the weekend and we were just hanging out at the bar. The bartender was so much fun. And he was like, oh, you guys have to go to this festival. It's 20 minutes away. And, all the people from Massachusetts, they know about it because it's like a yearly event that's going on. And so, I would have never known about that if it wasn't for the bartender telling me.
That's true. Even remember 2 years ago, we were doing, we went to Finland to see Northern. We were doing Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. And the night of my birthday, we were at a bar before midnight. The clock turns. We met two people there who were singers in a Broadway show, but they were working. They were gonna do a show around there. We made friends with them. The clock marks midnight. It's my birthday. The bartender gives me a shot for free. We're all talking. The bartender seemed cool. So we asked, so what's happening tonight? Because we were in a small place.
It was a Monday too.
It was a Monday.
We were like, there's nothing going on. Like,
there was us two with her brother, these two singers, and probably like a family of four. It was a Monday night in karaoke bar. And the bartender goes, oh yeah, when we finish here in an hour, we're all gonna go to this other place where there's also karaoke, but it's bigger and everyone's going there. So like, oh, that's cool.
And that's like a weekly event. Like they go there every Monday, and we were like, oh, okay.
So we
wouldn't have known about that.
We all ended up going to this other bar at like 1 a.m. with the bartender as well, and we all had a great night. Just because we were willing to ask on a Monday night at a karaoke bar to the bartender, what can we do tonight?
Exactly. And so basically, to wrap things up, you have all of these steps, right? But I think a really big key, and this is with all travel planning, is to give yourself a little bit of flexibility. Don't pack your schedule like minute by minute, because guess what? Then you lose your spontaneity. You lose your room for being able to find these cool things and include them, because no matter how much research you do, sometimes you can still find things once you're there. So.
Exactly. And you never know what you don't know. So you need to give a little wiggle room for life to surprise you and not have everything so structured. That's what we learn sometimes the hard way. That when we have a very structured plan, we find out there's something incredible to do, and we just have to say, okay, I guess life is teaching us how to be a better traveler.
Exactly.
So this was for today. We hope this gave you some value. As always, this is meant to be a conversation. So if you're watching us on YouTube, feel free to drop a comment if you have a question regarding the topic. If you're on Instagram as well, just drop a comment asking any questions you might have. The idea is for us to share with you everything we know, and maybe you can share something you know with us and like have this conversation, because our goal is to help as many people as we can to be better travelers, to travel more, to travel cheaper, to travel more often. So we hope this helped you. And if you're watching this as a replay, all the information about this topic is going to be both here in Instagram and in the description. We have on our website, scratchyourmapa.com, we have a blog post that goes deeper into the topic. If you don't like to read and if you don't like to watch a video for 20 to 30 minutes, we also have a podcast called Travel Buddies. It's on Spotify. You can find the link on the YouTube description of the video, where there's a chat. 15 minutes talking about the topic, teaching you everything you need to know. So maybe on the way to work, maybe while you're showering, you can listen, learn something new, and just get the inspiration you need to travel a little more.
Exactly.
So what are we going to be talking about next week?
So next week, we're going to be talking about how to find the best activities when you're traveling. And so this is events aside, festivals aside, but those activities and tours and unique experiences that you can find while you're traveling, whether it be a cooking class or whether it be
just a tour to see some cool stuff, like just like aside from this specific incredible local events. Okay, you want to do tours, you want to do activities, you want to do stuff, right?
Because activities are also going to really shape your trip to be something special, and it can be a workshop, it can be even just a guided tour that is with a specific group, going on an ATV or something like that. There are like a million different things that you can do. So basically, we're just going to help you find those cool activities and find out how you can really make the most of the activities on your trip.
100%. So this was Travel FOMO Fighters. I said it right this time. We're Danny and Fede. We hope we helped you a little bit, and we'll see you next week. Remember, it's every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern time or 2 p.m. Argentina time. Right now we're in Argentina. We might be streaming from different places around the world, but we'll see you next week. Well, have a great day. Bye-bye.